Hey, good morning everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Concrete with the Hosses. Monday morning, sun finally come up where we could see back here. And we got this step all ready to go. Just go over how we did this real quick. When they have the stone on, you hate to cut nail and put too many holes in this. So we just did one Tapcon right in a mortar joint. And then I used my wire tie, ran a series of screws across the band board and wire tied around the screws and around the outside of the form itself, and then my step liner runs inside between the wire. So the wire does two things. It's holding the lumber frame in place, as well as it's help holding the step liner in place. We put the rebar rotted into the concrete, not into the wood band board. And I'm going to go ahead and pour this step. You want to make sure this step liner is sprayed with liquid release so concrete does not stick to it. We have our expansion joint going down. And I always use expansion joint here, even though you see those little gaps. I don't want my concrete locked in there. Then when the concrete moves ever so slightly, you get chipping all through here. So we do that, and they can caulk it if they want to. So this is all on fill, wire mesh, rods, and hopefully it stays up on this hillside. So we're going to go ahead and get started pouring. I'll give you an update here. We just troweled the concrete smooth. In this case, we were able to go ahead and take the forms off the step. Everything's setting real nice. So we took the forms off, exposed the broken stone face. And now that'll be real nice when we come over to stamp, which we're going to get started right now. All that's done, out of our way, troweled. So it'll go real nice having that off. I pulled a number from the house out to this corner. 114 inches. 114 inches to here. Now we'll snap a real faint line across here. And that's going to be the start of our stamp. Now we'll know we're square with the house, as well as we'll get some of our mortar joints right where we're going to be putting our saw cut. Okay, so we snapped a real faint line from there. You can just barely see it. I don't want it real deep. So I put my first pattern on the line, right there on the line. And then my second one I get in place. And then I go ahead and measure. So now that we're at 6 feet, I can measure and make sure I have the same number. Now I know these two patterns are right where I want them, right in place. So now we're good to stamp. It's nice when you can take your time here. You don't have to rush. We're in the shade. Stuff in the sun is all done. So as we're stamping, we're constantly looking back. Stuff like this that you can take care of, just laying it down. Hopefully you're seeing that. I got my headset on, so hopefully I'm looking at the right spot. In my opinion, this is what makes a good stamp job. Other things, but I look for mortar joints nice and parallel with the step, with the wall, corners all stamped in real nice. You don't want to see big areas non-stamped. This is all textured. You already down below, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay. So come over here, and our joints line right up with that step, so we can run a saw cut right to the corner of that step where we want it. Maybe get one more in here off of this wall. Looks good. And here comes our mixer. So that was perfect timing. Wouldn't mind a drink of water. But that's how we stamp our majestic ashlar slate. So this was no color in the concrete, and then we're just gonna dust on some water-based storm gray on top of this. It gives you a two-tone light gray, dark gray, and that'll go perfect with the colors they have going on at this house. Need a hand, Steve? There you go. Okay, on to the driveway. Okay, we were asked to set this basketball jig in the concrete, and I said no. We did it one other time and we put it in the concrete, 4-foot hole, and the concrete moved, so we got a big crack coming off of the basketball hoop. That only cost me about $2,000 to do that, to redo that. So this time, told the customer no.
What are you doing?
So we dug a 4-foot hole outside of concrete, and they gave me this jig to put in with no bolts. I didn't look at it until this morning, so maybe that's on me. But so notice how we have the bolts, you know, in a rectangle form, pushing straight down into the concrete. Like I was saying earlier, they didn't give us bolts with this bracket, or I'm sorry, nuts with the bracket. We usually get these all nice and tight and put in the concrete. So try and get them as straight as I can. Down just a little bit.
I just want to get the screws out of the concrete. No? You don't care?
Up about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Okay, right about there. So the concrete's really wet yet. We're just gonna let that sit. And notice it's back 3 inches from our driveway. This driveway can move, and that's not going to. So now that the concrete tightened up a little bit, Steve's going to dust on a coat of our SRT sealer. That way, when we're pouring this concrete, we can walk on that in our socks and get the edging done. We'll stay away from the stamp work with the sealer for today, and we'll just touch that up. Well, we'll do that later today. We'll go down the stamp with a shield so that our SRT does not get on the stamp work. We're getting these two pads ready. He's due back probably in 10 minutes. Finished up our basketball pad over here. We held this about an inch low. They're going to put decorative rocks in here, and they'll just stone right over top of that. You won't even ever see any of that. So the bolts look pretty straight. Hopefully the jig fits on top of there. Like I said earlier, they didn't give us the nuts for it, and I didn't see it in time. So we did the best we could with what we had. What else? Expansion joints getting clamped in place. Looking good. Okay, all done with that 10 yards. Steve just has a little bit of bull floating to do. Nice and slow, nice and flat. Now, if this boulder wall wasn't here, where I turned the straight edge, he would turn the bull float. Always try and go against the straight edger when you're bull floating. Any little ripples left in there, the bull float will take them right out. Alright, so we have about 50 feet to go. We'll just get 2 cement trucks back to back and finish this out. So hopefully we can get that done today yet. I think it's 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Quarter after 12.
Quarter after 12. Good. So we should have this driveway done, and then all we have left is the front walk and porch. And we have one more for this builder this year. We're just trying to get done before crummy weather sets in. So we'll get this finished. 2 more trucks heading our way. Okay, we are brooming concrete. Here we go. It's getting really windy out.
Well, you got to put the camera on.
Oh, that's a good idea, Jim. Some up close footage there. Steve, are you going the whole way, or you want me to come up halfway? Well, it's really getting windy up here, and the camera kept blowing over, so I don't know how much of that you saw. We'll work on that a little bit. Steve's just finishing up the last little bit of edging, and this concrete is en route right now. It's coming together pretty good. I wish we were a little bit further along for the time of day it is. I think we're going on 1:30 maybe. We still have 15 yards of concrete to go, and then get ready for in the morning. Okay, here we go. Pouring the driveway, nosing him right up. Somebody watching his tire? Plenty of room. That way we can have the whole driveway ready to go. We have 2 trucks back to back. Shouldn't take long to pour it. So we'll get a bead of concrete down our existing concrete. Spread the wire, get that up, and then just fill in the middle. I'll get a little bit of this footage, then go to time lapse and jump in and help. Go. So our second truck's all mixed up, ready to go. We use this first 3 feet. We'll mix his concrete in with our first truck's concrete and get a nice blend. We don't want to see one solid line of different colored concrete, different texture concrete. We want to blend that together. So he'll swing it up this way and knit it together. The driveway's all poured. Probably took about 25 minutes, half an hour to pour that. And it's setting up really good. It's windy, sunny, not real hot. But we're gonna start edging right now. Stay ahead of it. A lot of concrete on the ground here. Okay, I only have a minute to talk. First truck is all cut and rubbed up. We are on to number 2. Adjusting these cuts down here. We're going to take this one out. It came in a little bit too shallow. So we'll sprinkle some concrete in there, stab it together, knit it together. Never know it's there. Done it. That way when they drive over those corners, those wings don't crack. You getting wing cuts in here, Jim? Wing cut, wing cut. We got our center cut here. All right, Steve's on that. Okay, keep rubbing the concrete. Okay, so that went fast, almost too fast, but it's all done, and we didn't really struggle anywhere. It's just windy out, and the wind's drying the surface out, so it just made it a little bit harder to finish. But everything turned out real good. I'm going to get a sealer on here so that wind stops drying it out. There's chemicals you can use It's called Wind Block. There's one I know of, Wind Block. I'm sure there's other ones out there that help it, but it's all done. Get it sealed. Okay, we got a lot of concrete poured today. We did that stamp patio in the back, did this whole driveway, and the reason that I pushed so hard to get the driveways done all in one day, tomorrow when we're doing the front porch and sidewalk, everybody can walk on here. If we only do half, now they walk halfway down and they're walking through wet concrete. So it's nice that it's all done in one day. Maybe tomorrow I'll do a little more talking on our technique and procedures, but today was just about getting some concrete on the ground. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. Tell all your friends. Let's keep this channel growing. Have a good day.